Hey guys, welcome to the think tank. So, we are going to go over Richard Allen's probable cause affidavit. With all of this new paperwork coming out, it's gotten a little confusing as to what was on there and what wasn't on there. So, I thought just to refresh our memories, maybe we'll go through this document one more time. So this here is the probable cause. So before we get too far into this, let's talk quickly about those other documents. So those 136 pages are pure horror. What was in them, I mean, it's a legal document, so it is supposed to be a correct document. With that said, if that's the case, what has been going on in Delphi and surrounding area? Because it's scary, guys. So let's jump into this document. I'm going to bump it up, make it a little bit bigger for you. There we go. So, State of Indiana versus Richard M. Allen. Probable cause affidavit. I, the undersigned affiant, submit the following information pursuant to, then it gives you the code, as a sworn affidavit, set forth the facts and circumstances known to law enforcement of Carroll County as the basis for probable cause to arrest without a warrant or to establish probable cause for issuance of an arrest warrant for the above named defendant. So in those documents, they are asking for that search of Richard Allen's family home. They want that thrown out. They don't want it to be any part of this proceeding when it starts in January. That makes me wonder, what is in that document? What have they found out? What did they find during that search? Because the defense really wants to get that gone. So the hearsay statements of witnesses contained herein are considered reliable and credible due to the witness's personal knowledge and or are corroborated by the totality of circumstances. On February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. They were located on the north side of Deer Creek. That is very, very close to the bridge where Abby's last photo was taken and the photo of Bridge Guy. They didn't go too far. They just went down the slope and around a bit of a bend. At the time, the Monon High Trail Bridge was, Monon High Bridge Trail was approximately a 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately 0.25 miles long, spanning the Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles north on the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25, approximately 350 feet west of Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25, also known as the County Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is within a wooded area and a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. So they were found on Ron Logan's property. So he was a suspect at the beginning of all of this. There is a previous video that I have done on Ron Logan, so worth looking into. He is definitely one of the fellows that was looked in heavily, as well as a few others. Richard Allen was not the first person that they interviewed or looked at. There's quite a few of them, all of which at one point they decided they had nothing to do with these girls passing. So let's see here. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of the video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by Redacted. The Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 North, near an entrance to the trails. A video from victim 2's phone. So victim 2 is going to be Libby, and victim 1 is Abby. So a video from Libby's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., Abby and Libby encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls down the hill. He said, "Guys, down the hill." No witnesses saw them after this time, and there were no longer any outgoing communications that were found on Libby's phone after that time. They were discovered on February 14th. Sadly, that's Valentine's Day. Found on Libby's phone after this time. That phone and Libby, smart thinking. They have him on video speaking, walking. We've got his entire body. So why did it take so long? We're in the 6th year. The video recovered from Libby's phone shows Abby walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge, while a male subject, and we'll call him Bridge Guy, wearing a dark jacket and jeans, walked behind her. As the male subject approaches Abby and Libby, one of the victims mentions a gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, "Guys, down the hill." The girls then began to proceed down the hill, and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the "Guys down the hill" audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying this male. So if this Bridge Guy is Richard Allen, he was hiding in plain sight. He worked at the CVS pharmacy right in Delphi, where the little girls are from, and he wasn't looked at for a very long time, although his name was introduced to the case shortly after this happened. So there was an interview. There was 3 kids, blah and blah. They advised that they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail February 13th, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail towards the Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from the Freedom Bridge, the Monon High Bridge. Redacted described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans, a like really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown. He did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Redacted advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall. Well, Richard Allen is 5'4", and they're saying that he had a bigger build. Richard Allen was at that time a stocky fellow. She said he was not bigger than 5'10", advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Redacted showed the investigators photos she took on her phone while she was at the trail that day. The photographs include a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Redacted advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. Sorry, guys. I need to hydrate. We're doing this at 4 a.m. I couldn't stop thinking about this paperwork after seeing the other 136 pages and how they ripped this probable cause apart. I really, like I was saying, thought it necessary to get a refresher as to what they are trying to break down, which is this paperwork. They're saying that the person that the investigator that made this particular document was not honest. So if that is the case, this case is in trouble. So again, this is why I thought it's a good idea. We can't review the 136-page document because it's been sealed. I have read through it. I've read through the whole thing. And they are basically saying that this is an inaccurate document. Therefore, it needs to be thrown out along with the search of Richard's house. Again, is this going to happen? I don't know, because if there was somebody dishonest making this paperwork, I think the case is in trouble. And I don't even like to say that out loud. So let's see here. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and taller than her. Let me go back. She advised that when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photo taken from Libby's camera, she described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised that he was wearing baggy jeans and that he was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulders. I don't know how tall this girl is. She advised that she said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated his hands were in his pockets and he kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after the encounter, after encountering the male, they continued their walk their walk across the Freedom Bridge. and the old railroad bridge over Old State Road 25. So there is a parking area over there. And this is why a lot of people will come across that bridge to get onto these trails. But there's also a few different spots where they can pull in on the same side as the trail if they so desire. And allegedly, Alan parked his vehicle on this side of the bridge. He didn't have to cross and go over the highway. He parked on the same side as the paths on the trail. So investigators spoke with her, who advised that she was on the trails February 13th. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Redacted's vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. toward the entrance across from the Mears farm. Redacted advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Redacted advised there was no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she was going to walk to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching one of the victims, Libby's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears Farm. She passed 2 girls walking towards the Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were Abby and Libby. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 a white car matching Redacted's vehicle traveling away from the entrance from the Mears farm. Redacted advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvester video at 2:14, leaving westbound from the trails. She advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Services building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the building. Investigators received a tip from Redacted in which he stated he was on his way to Delphi on State Road 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser, or a small SUV type vehicle, parked on the south side of the old CPS building. So I'm going to stop there for a second. What's really interesting, the mention of a purple PT Cruiser. The reason this is interesting to me is obviously the color purple is an unusual color for any vehicle. It will stand out. There's a lot of them. But one person who did have at that time a purple PT Cruiser is Tony Klein's mother, Keegan Klein's grandmother. She had at the time a purple PT Cruiser. Okay, so he stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Redacted both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Seeing a small dark colored car at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. Look at all the different descriptions. Purple PT Cruiser, They've also said that it could have been a little SUV. Now they're saying like a little smart car. Yeah. Where are all these vehicles coming from? So the vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Who's Your Harvester video. Investigators spoke with Redacted, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North, February 13th, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from the Monon High Bridge. She advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. So this last word, is something they're saying was not on the original paperwork. They're saying it just said that he was. So I'm not sure what to think of this whole sighting, to be honest with you. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Who's Your Harvester that Redacted was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and videos from the Who's Your Harvester, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail the day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those people encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Redacted, and Redacted. Further, none of those individuals witnessed Abby or Libby. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. So if it's true, I mean, what I've heard is that this officer was like a forestry guy, and the way it sounds is one was walking into a grocery store and the other one was walking out of a grocery store. They had a brief conversation and that was that. So investigators, okay, the narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the New Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember descriptions, nor did he speak to any of them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trail ahead, however, did not pay much attention to them, and he did not take photos or video. His cell phone did not list an IMEI, but did have the following. So this potential follow-up information: who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Service building, as there was not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe he saw included Redacted and Redacted due to the time they were leaving the trail. The time he reported getting to the trail and the description of the 3 females and the descriptions of the 3 females he gave. So, okay. So it does look like he says he saw them as well. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Who's Your Harvester video at 1:27. traveling westbound on CR 300 north in front of the Hoosier Harvest Store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 at the trails. Investigators note, witness described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Service building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or a smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. PT Cruiser and a smart car, they look quite different. So are people seeing different vehicles and giving different... I'm not quite sure why there is such a difference in descriptors. I really don't understand that part. Could he have had his Focus there and possibly somebody else have that PT Cruiser? That's very possible. October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on trails east of Freedom Bridge, and he went onto the Monon High Bridge. You see, this is the thing, is he is placing himself there when allegedly the stuff happened. He puts himself there. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon Bridge, High Bridge, to watch the fish. Okay, again, that bridge is really high. I'm not knowing how he could watch fish. I don't understand how, unless he's got x-ray vision, how he was seeing fish. But all right. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform of the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He told investigators that he owns firearms and they are at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns, knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whitman Drive, Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer Model P226 .40 caliber pistol with the serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, a function test, barrel and overall length measurement, test firing, ammunition component characterization, microscopic comparison, and Nibbin. The laboratory determined the unspent round located 2 feet from Libby's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. An identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressions or marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns of the surface contours. The interpretation of Identification is subjective in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and experience. So by going through this, it's sounding to me like they had more than enough reason to go through his house. But we're going to have to see what parts of this the defense rips apart. You know, I know that they're saying that that one statement is incorrect, but they're also saying that there's numerous things through here that were added to convince the judge that Richard Allen's house needed to be searched. So while we're going through this paperwork, just keep all of this in mind. Slowly, the 136-page memorandum is coming out. So as you're hearing things, refer back to this because this is what they're challenging. Okay, let's see here. Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Redacted has been part of the investigation since it started back in 2017. He's had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in this investigation. Detective Redacted, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from Libby's phone who forced the victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to a location where they were attacked. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statement of Redacted were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m. east of Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m. and walked across the former railroad pass over Old State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Redacted vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 and leaving at 12:14 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. Redacted described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Redacted is the same male depicted in the video from Libby's phone, due to the description of the male by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, Libby's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Redacted saw only one male. Saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 to 2:14 p.m. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by Redacted, and the male seen in victim 2's Libby's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m., 2 hours that day. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. toward the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing in Libby's video and the clothing descriptions provided by Redacted. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10 p.m., 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 8 p.m. at the former CPS building. Though his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. So isn't that interesting? He's at a site gone, and so are Abby and Libby. Investigators identify other individuals on the trail or CR 300 north between 2:30 p.m. and 4:11 p.m. None of those individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated he only saw 3 girls on the trail who investigators believed to be redacted. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and 2, Abby and Libby. An unspent .40 caliber round between Abby and Libby was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer model to P226. The Sig Sauer model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to find it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found, and he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at the location. So how reliable is this information, being that it was not shot out of the barrel? Investigators believe that after victims were deleted, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle, walked down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by redacted, walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North, where his clothes were muddy and bloody. So this last part here, they're saying, was not involved in the statement whatsoever. Along with investigators, redacted, along with investigators believe the statements made by the witnesses, because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death of the 2 victims, as well as coincides with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts replayed by redacted and redacted are similar in nature. The timestamps on photos taken by redacted correspond to the times the juvenile females said they saw the male individual. So there's that. So that is the probable cause that the defense is fighting right now. This is the one that they want to talk about in that Frank hearing, and that they want, like I said, they want thrown out. They really, really want that paperwork from that search thrown out. So again, what did they find? So guys, I really hope that this helps you when it comes to going through everything that's coming out right now. You know, you need to be able to weigh, as I did, both sides and see what you individually think of what is being said by the defense, what is being said by the prosecutors. So I wanted to get this out to you bright and early, and be there for when you get up and have your morning coffee. So thank you very much, guys, for being here with me. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.